It is day 5 of the Fall Garden Challenge. A huge congratulations go out to you for being here for the final day of the challenge and sticking with me every single day. Have you had fun yet? Let me know how this has gone for you, what you've learned, what's been new, and what you're thinking about your fall garden. Hopefully you are excited. Now for today, it is time to plan our harvest day. Now this has happened to me and I'm sure it's happened to you too. You head to the plant shop, you pick out your plants, you even come home, you put them in the garden, maybe even you planted some seeds, and then you're excited, you water, you take care of them for the first few days, and then things get busy, appointments happen, life happens, and you look up 2, 3, 4 months later and you're like, wonder what happened to all those plants I planted out in the garden. Well, today's challenge is going to ensure that that does not happen to you or me or anybody who's involved in this challenge, because we're going to put it on the calendar. Today, we are going to do the math to figure out when we will be harvesting our plants that we are planning out for the fall garden. So we figured out way back in day 2 how many days we have in each season, the cool and the warm. Then we planned our plants based on what they're producing for us, leaves, roots, and fruit. We ordered our seeds, so now it's time to pick our planting day and our harvest day. And we're simply going to use the framework of leaves, roots, and fruit to determine how far the harvest day will be from our planting day, if, crossing our fingers, everything works out as planned. So first you're going to plan your first planting day. If you have a warm season before your frost date comes, if you planned on planting a set of warm season plants before that first frost date, then you're going to mark on the calendar the day you're going to plant your warm season plants. Then you are going to fast forward whatever. If you're planting leaves on that day, you're going to fast forward to about 45 days. We'll give you a little bit of leaning. 45 days, and on the calendar, you're going to mark that that is your harvest day for your leaves. If you're planting out root crops on that first day, then you're going to mark out about 60 to 75 days. You could maybe mark both. You could give yourself to 75 days if you want. That's when you're going to harvest your root crops from the warm season. And then finally, if you're growing fruiting crops like tomatoes or beans or peppers, you're going to mark out 90 days from that planting day, and that's when you're going to harvest those fruiting crops. You could probably start at like 75 days and go to 90 days, all right? So you're plotting out, this is the day I'm planting, and then you're going to plot out 45 days, 75 days, and then 90 days. Those are your key harvest days. Now here's the secret, here's the fun thing. Once the leafy green harvests begin, they will continue. So you could actually not just mark that 45 days, that's actually just your first harvest day. Then you could mark a week from that every single week until you get to the end of that season, until you get to the first frost date. You can harvest from those greens, from your herbs, from your basil, every single week until you hit the first frost. And with the roots, if you want to just harvest a little at the time, that can be true as well. So that these dates that we're marking are really just our first harvest date. That's when the harvest starts. And then you can just continue to harvest them again and again until you get to the end of that season. Then we're going to do the exact same thing for the cool season. So you could plant your cool season plants before that first frost date. If you want to get a jump start, you could plant them probably as early as 30 days, maybe even 45 days before your first frost date. You put in those cool season plants. And then that's when you're going to mark your first planting day. Then you're going to fast forward to 45 days. That's your first leafy green harvest day. 75 days, 60 to 75 days, that's your first root crop harvest day. And then 90 days, that's your first fruit crop harvest day. So again, you're going to plan your planting day. That's about 45 days before your first frost date. And then you're going to start harvesting leafy greens essentially on your first frost date. And then you're going to harvest root crops and then fruit crops. But again, just like with the warm season, as soon as those green harvests begin, they will continue. As soon as those root crop harvests begin, as long as you don't harvest all of them all at once, they'll continue as well. So that by that 90th day, you should be able to step out and pick roots and leaves and fruit all together, as long as they're all included in your planting plan. Thank you so very much for joining me over these last 5 days. This is just the beginning of us gardening together this fall. I've got lots of surprises headed your way, and we'll kick off our fall gardens together.